All right, Rob. The rich get richer. That's all I got to say. I mean, when the Nets added Blake Griffin on the buyout market, that was a lot, right? That was a little bit surprising. Like, wow, okay. And then LaMarcus Aldridge, who we had been hearing, might go to Miami, and he decides to join the Nets, which I think surprised a lot of people because it just didn't seem like that was possible,
Yep, I was surprised when I heard the news. And
so, of course, Twitter went bananas. I mean, they're acting like Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge are still in their prime. These guys are older, and Aldridge is 35.
Yeah, but for what they need them to do, though,
Jacob Poeltl in San Antonio.
But for what they need him to do on that team, it's not a lot. So that's why
I agree with that. But I'm just saying, people are all this. It's unfair. It's this. It's that. That they're acting like he's still that perennial all-star.
Right. Like he's 30 years old, not 35.
Right. And Blake, of course, is 32, but not what he used to be. But Rob, as you said, what you're seeing with the Nets, and you see it with other teams too, when they're stacked like this, when you've got three superstars, and to be honest, we've only seen two recently.
Yep.
But when you've got two super duper stars, the role players, they just need to be they get better. Because those other guys draw so much attention.
Absolutely. You're going to get open looks. All the other stuff is there. And we've seen Harden pass the basketball to those guys, Chris, if they're open. So it's not like you're just standing around watching those guys play. And if you don't take those other players seriously, they'll hurt you. We've seen it. We've seen it.
And Blake looks very good.
He has.
He had 17 points in 20 minutes against Detroit.
Yep. That's all you can ask for in that situation. And they won a game that in Detroit by 1 point. They got the win. That's what good teams do, Chris. And all they had was
Harden as far as their superstars.
Yep. And Detroit played well that game. They came out and they gave it a go, and they still couldn't beat them. And now Durant is a week away? Is that what Nash said?
He's out the rest of this week. So
right. So it could be, but it could be, Once they get him back, I don't know how many games they're losing.
They host Minnesota. What'd you say?
I said after they get him back, and I don't know how many games they're losing. They've won 17 out of 20 now. Is that what the number is?
Yeah.
And look, they play Minnesota. They got like 3 easy games the next 3 games.
They got Minnesota tonight with Kyrie.
Right.
But, Rob, I believe, check this out, Rob G, because I think they're 15-3 without Durant this year. But check that out, Rob, if you can. That's the best record in the NBA. Like, that would be, you know what I'm saying? So, without Durant, they've got the best record in the league.
Right. That what does that say?
Well, tell you what, Rob, the good thing for Nets fans is that his game is the type of game that should, there's always a little adjustment, but he should be able to drop in fairly seamlessly because of the way
I agree with that.
I
agree. I don't think he's going to be a problem or, what are we doing here? No, I think the players know what kind of ball player he is, what he brings to the table. He's the best player on that team, and I don't think that they're going to go away from him or keep doing what they were doing once he's there. And I think everybody will adjust. I really do.
Absolutely. And now, I've picked them to win it, as have you. They need to get on the floor together. I mean, I get it that it's gone really well and they just gotten together, but they need to start playing together and get their chemistry honed. It's obviously already good, but they need to get it honed to where they're a smooth running machine. So there's that. But Rob, what we want to bring up, and you have, I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to let you say it. You got this great saying.
I've been saying it for a while. You know that if you listen to our show, and I've always said LeBron James started MySpace and Kevin Durant started Facebook. I was going to say Facebook. And
this is actually Twitter.
Right. Or Instagram now. I mean,
right.
But my point was when LeBron did his big 3 in Miami and he put it together and he had the big on-stage spectacular and dancing girls and confetti and not 2, not 3, not 4. Remember that? Remember they were saying they were going to win 7 championships.
Right.
Right, Alex?
Right.
You got that? That wasn't, Chris, he didn't say that on happenstance, right? He thought he had built this super team that couldn't be beat.
Not 3,
Right.
not 4,
Absolutely.
not 5.
I mean, right?
Not 6.
He didn't say that on jest. He really thought he had built this great team that was going to be hard pressed, and they went to the finals 4 years in a row. They won 2, they lost 2, but now this is a new level, and I believe that LeBron, you reap what you sow. He started this, and now I think the NBA's turned into the ABL. Anybody but LeBron. That's where we are now.
So explain that. Unpack that. So are you saying like the rest of the players in the league are against him or what?
I think that there's a degree of like LeBron did this thinking he was going to, run the place and stack the deck and make it work for him. I'm not letting a general manager do this. I'm going to build my team. I'm going to get the best players. And for people who are like crying, Chris, and boo-hooing about this ain't fair to LeBron, LeBron went out and tried to get Kawhi and Anthony Davis to join him at the Lakers.
Right. Absolutely.
They had money to get Kawhi. It could have been a done deal if Kawhi was a different guy. What would have changed, Chris? He would have been playing in his hometown, L.A., right? He's from suburban L.A.
Right.
He's playing at the Staples Center where he is right now playing. What would have changed? They probably would have won 4 championships in a row. Kawhi could have done his load management, could have done whatever he wanted with those 3, and it would have been a piece of cake, but Kawhi wanted no part of it. That's really what we're talking about. So for people to look at the Nets now and cry and say like, oh, everybody's just they need this to beat a 36-year-old guy. No. Who was LeBron trying to beat when he tried to get Kawhi? Who was he trying to beat, Chris, that he needed Kawhi to?
No, the only person you could say is Steph. But the point you're making is understood. Stop. This is where I disagree. I agree with everything you said. LeBron started this.
He did.
He started this.
Yep.
This is the era of – it's not the first era of super teams. Larry Bird had a super team in Boston. Magic Johnson had a super team with Kareem with the Lakers. All right, the Lakers had a super team before that with Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, and Gail Goodrich. There have been even Boston, right? The Big Three in 2008 that won the championship. The difference is now today's super teams are player generated. LeBron got AD to LA. Tried to get Kawhi there. Kawhi goes to the Clippers, and the Clippers aren't technically a super team. We tend to think 3 superstars.
No, not right.
But they are, they're an elite team, and that's because not only Kawhi went there, Rob, but he got Paul George to go there too.
But in the Paul George case, they had to give to get. They had to trade to get him. So
right, but
there's
it's
a little different.
I mean, LeBron got traded technically to Miami. I mean, it's players like if Kawhi doesn't reach out to Paul George and recruit him, he's not going to Oklahoma City and saying, you know what, can you guys trade me? So that's what I mean. And then, of course, in Brooklyn, they're hanging out with Harden in the summer. And they say, you know what? It'd be great if all 3 of us could play together. So that's what I mean, player generated. Like these are the brainchilds of the players, not front office executives. So you are absolutely right. LeBron started it, and all the Laker fans and LeBron fans, and I like LeBron and all that, but you can't complain because he did start this. And what Durant has done is just one-up him what appears to be twice, certainly when he went to Golden State.
Yep.
And now if this works out the way it looks like it's going to work out, then he one-upped him again.
And it could wind up blocking LeBron. Go ahead.
Right. You can't. LeBron had every intention of doing the same thing.
Right.
If I try to cheat on my wife but just can't get with nobody, and I'm as bad as the dude that cheats on his wife because he was successful. You know what I'm saying? Intention is important. So LeBron had the intention of building this type of team, and he did. He couldn't because Kawhi turned it down. Durant was just successful in doing it.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. That's the only difference. So where I disagree with you is that I don't think players. Now, I think Durant definitely has LeBron in his mind. Like, yeah, I want to beat him. You know what I mean? He had all that in Miami. They beat us. I never won it in Oklahoma City. I want to do what because Durant has followed LeBron at virtually every turn. I mean, really, LeBron starts his media company, Durant starts a media company. LeBron goes to a super team, Durant goes to a super team. Now, he's doing it. He's doing it again, and like you said, he's one-upping him. So I think Durant thinks that way, Rob.
Right.
But I don't think other players are like, cheering because Durant looks like he may stick it to LeBron again. I don't think that. I think other players are upset because they see these stacked teams being formed.
Yeah, it's definitely not good for the NBA. I said this on Colin's show a long time ago that LeBron ruined the NBA. I'm going to stick with that because I do believe, Chris, this is just, I can't prove it, that if LeBron stayed put, I doubt we'd have the movement that we've seen in the NBA. I'm not saying that nobody would move or become a free agent, but I just don't know. Durant could still be in OKC. If LeBron stayed put, and some of the other moves, Dwight Howard, huh?
Right. I agree. Like, look.
Because you follow the guy, the leader.
I don't think LeBron's ruined the NBA. I think this is actually great for the NBA. And I think super teams, like I said, the 80s was all Boston and LA for the most part. They were super teams and people loved it. So I don't think this is bad, but I do agree with your point that if LeBron doesn't do it first, I really mean this. I don't think it would have even entered Kevin Durant's mind to go to Golden State. And if it did, I think it would have been like, come on, there's no way. I can't do that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I just don't think it would have. Now, I could be wrong. And then, you're right, players are moving around and trying to form these types of teams. So